Does TDE change anything in dealing with a corrupt database?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that TDE is transparent data encryption. And I want to make sure before I tell you about the things that it changes in corruption repair, that I want to make it clear, we recommend TDE for almost all databases, unless you don't care about people stealing your data. And for anything in medical or finance or anything that's confidential or HR related, you always want to make sure you have your databases TDE encrypted. Now, however, when you're working with TDE, the way it works is that it encrypts everything that gets written to disk. So what that means is if you're loading a data page is an 8K chunk of data, and let's say that data page has 50 rows in it. Well, with TDE encrypted, you're either going to get that whole page back or you're going to get nothing. Because if that encryption has been messed up through corruption, well, it's not going to be able to unencrypt any part of that page. The whole 8K chunk will be gone or unrecoverable in that case. Now, if you didn't have TDE, which we generally don't recommend, but if you didn't have TDE, well, it's possible that we would be able to pull back some of the data out of that 8K data page. If there were 50 rows in it, we might be able to pull back 49 or even 50 of them out of the page by reading it. But with TDE encryption, it's an all or nothing thing when you're reading a data page. It gives a few less options to walk through in the corrupt page data to help us understand the corruption. However, that being said, if your question is, should I be TDE encrypted or should I not, because it might make corruption repair a little bit harder, always do TDE encryption if you're asking that, because it's like, well, it's kind of like the question of, well, if you live in a place where you're going to get burglarized if you don't lock your house, well, I mean, you're going to lock your house. And I think TDE is kind of like making sure you always keep your house locked. So yes, TDE makes the repair a little bit more complicated. It does eliminate some of the options that we have without TDE, but we still would not recommend turning off TDE simply if you expect corruption. Instead, I would recommend focus on more backups, focus on better backups, focus on a longer backup retention, focus on how you can run CHECKDB more often and have alerting on it rather than the problems that will arise out of TDE.